Oh shit, there you are. Oh god. Oh jeez. Oh, I saw her. Oh my gosh. We are talking about the haunted house movie with a difference. Dark House, a 2017 movie directed and written by Sheffield Leithart. Now the story here focuses on this real estate agent as he is asked to try and sell this particular house which is located in some type of snowy area. Not sure where this is filmed, but it's a snowy area, so maybe Canada or who knows. But anyway, when he's there, he's kind of, he's got some financial troubles, etc. He's trying to sort himself out. So he enters this house, he leaves his phone in the car on charge. And when he gets in there, he actually finds that there's a woman squatting there. And of course, he kind of wants her to get out. But she tells him that she can't, she's trapped in there. And of course, he doesn't believe her. And when he tries to leave, he actually learns he can't. There is some type of mystical force that ultimately simply turns him around, and whenever he tries to go out and exit, he just comes straight back in again. So him and this kind of woman have to kind of team up and try and kind of find out what the hell is going on. And every time they go into a different room, there seems to be another challenge that's there. Normally it's kind of like an apparition of someone that they know, and it links into their fears. So they have to overcome these kind of various different kind of challenges to try and find another exit to this house. So what will happen in Dark House? Well, you have to watch the movie to find out. So let's discuss. So the first thing here, and I would say in the movie's praise, is that the actual concept here is somewhat original. Yes, it kind of plays like initially like it's going to be a kind of a haunted house movie, and to a degree it is. But the actual sort of the premise is somewhat original, and it creates different kind of challenges as the movie progresses. So this couple kind of go through this house, and they kind of have to kind of almost defeat various different kind of apparitions and avatars of their fears. The house almost seems to learn from this and comes up with ways to kind of change and kind of evolve to kind of make the challenge more interesting. So while I was watching this film, I was kind of reminded almost of like a role-playing Dungeons and Dragons game. So every kind of room you go into, there's going to be some type of kind of like mystery almost, some kind of challenge that you ultimately have to overcome. And that's ultimately what happens in this movie. It's this couple going from room to room, trying, being distracted by different things, overcoming personal demons and maybe even literal demons to try and maybe get that sweet smell of escape. So that was pretty good. I've got to say, I thought the acting was good as well. When we first kind of meet our main character, I don't know, he just gave me this performance where I really felt like he was really this house. This estate agent, as we call it in the UK, or real estate agent, as you call it in the US, I suppose. I don't know, he just came across as kind of like he was really down. The conversations that he was having on the phone and stuff like that just seemed quite real to me. And I quite like that. And his kind of interactions with Christine, who is this kind of like this female in the house, from an acting standpoint, I thought was very kind of realistic. There were some issues I have with the dialogue, which I'll come on to, but the actual acting, the delivery, I thought was actually pretty good. And I thought the actual, when we actually get into this house, the movie is called Dark House, and it is suitably dark, but it kind of worked in the film's favour. It kind of really does feel very kind of oppressive and kind of mysterious. Now, interesting, the film kind of switches between a traditional kind of style of camera work to that of found footage, depending on obviously what we're looking at, because this guy is constantly kind of carrying around this kind of camera to try and document what's happening. So it will kind of flip-flop between like your first person sort of through the camera view to actually your more of traditional style. So it's nearly about 50-50, to be honest. And I have to say, there's some although they're quite basic effects, they just looked good. For example, we have a scene where they go into this room, I think it's like a hallway, and like an apparition appears, and then they kind of step back and it disappears. But it happens, then it's not a fade away, it just happens kind of almost straight away. So it's obviously just a quick cut, but it just looks effective. It doesn't look silly or cheap. It kind of works with the kind of the narrative of the film, which I thought was quite good. What doesn't work for me? So I've mentioned a lot of the acting, but here's what I don't like in regards to the performances, and that's the dialogue. I thought the dialogue here was somewhat poorly written. So the delivery of it, I think, was as best as the actors can do, but some of the actual words that were coming out of their mouth, I feel, was somewhat poorly written. And the actual character development of these two people didn't seem to make a lot of sense. And these guys don't seem to learn from their mistakes. Now, again, this is down to the writing, not to the acting. So, for example, we have these guys, they see something, obviously, which is clearly not right. I mean, this guy's getting teleported back to the room. So there's clearly some type of, you know, unexplainable situation going on. Yet he sees like this apparition of his wife in the next scene, but just assumes she's real. And it's like, you know, hang on a second, you've just been teleported back into this room, and we're just assuming this wife, which would have no business being here, is just standing in the next room, not moving, with a knife. You know, and it happens again and again. So it just seems to me that these two characters, don't act in a realistic way in regards to what they're seeing. Now, yeah, what they're seeing is fantastic, but I don't think anyone will just question, you know, just kind of say, oh, that's clearly what I'm seeing is real. Even if you didn't think it was ghost or something, you would think, hang on, something's not right here. I'm clearly seeing things. That's clearly not my wife, or whatever it is that you see. And as the movie goes, there's a whole bunch of different things. But it's not just seeing things; it's actually interacting with them as well. So, to me, some of the logic in this movie didn't make sense. And even from that, I mean, we learned that this Christine has been in this house for days. I'm thinking, well, what has she eaten? You know, what has she drank? Because she can't go anywhere else apart from this one room. Because she can't, she's just too scared to go anywhere initially. So what has she eaten at this point? Because there's nothing in there. It's like a barren house, like an empty house. So again, logic issues kind of don't really make sense. Now, when we get to the end of the movie, I think it thinks it's setting up a twist, but I think it's fairly obvious what's going to happen. To me, at least, I think it was, you know, it was no real twist when what actually happened did happen. But I think the movie thinks that it will be a twist. Yeah, but I've got to say, it's such an intriguing premise and such almost like an original take on a kind of haunted house movie. I actually can forgive some of the shortcomings to a certain degree because it was, you know, a unique viewing experience. I mean, I'm sure there might be things that's similar to this, but you don't see them as often, and it's kind of nice when you see a film, I feel, take a slightly different path to a haunted house genre, which is, you know, a lot of movies are like that. Although I always say this, the movie isn't particularly scary. It has some kind of quite, it's quite visually striking at times, especially when we kind of go outside from this kind of the snowy brightness inside to the dark house. There's such a juxtaposition there. I thought it looks really good and really, you know, really kind of like noticeable, which I think is why they probably chose it. But the movie's not ever really scary. But just the main issue I have is the way the kind of dialogue was written. The idea of the story was well written, but the actual dialogue and kind of the character development didn't ring true to me. So I'll give this movie, I'll give it a 6 out of 10 because I just like the idea so much here. I'm going to just push it to an above average film because I think it's somewhat of a unique kind of style of movie, and that makes it worth a watch for me, even though I feel it has some significant problems. 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.